Hi everyone, welcome to Handicrafts A to Z, and today we're gonna make the mari for the Japanese embroidery. It's called temari, and the basic bowl on which we're gonna do the embroidery is called mari. Traditionally, temari is made of the scrap yarn or cloth leftovers, but for my country temari is actually pretty new craft. So we traditionally, for 3 years now, I introduced them in our country as Christmas baubles, decoration for Christmas trees. So my plan is to make them as light as possible, because if you make it traditional, it's pretty heavy and might roll over your Christmas tree. So for the base, I use these Styrofoam balls, and I use the sock yarn to wrap it with, and on top I use the normal sewing thread. So let's get started. For this tutorial I use a Styrofoam ball, which is about 8 centimeters in diameter, sock yarn, which is half wool and half acrylic, thread, and embroidery needles. We need them to fix the thread inside the mari. So first of all, it's also a good idea to use this ball for the beginner, since it's already smooth and round, and you don't need to worry about the shape. Well, you do have to worry, but at least you got the base of the mari is already round. So what we have now, place the yarn and start wrapping it randomly. The first layer is very slippery. You might even lose the ball to run away. So I just wrap it around to cover all the spaces. And always twist, wrap and twist, wrap and turn. You don't have these spikes. If you wrap around the yarn at one space, you might end up with kind of spikes and mountains on the ball. So you need to make it distributed evenly. It's also a good thing to use this ball, since even if you make a mistake and you got some pointing areas, you can always push them inside. The Styrofoam is pretty soft. You can push all the surface defects in, and they will stay. After cover this ball with the threads completely, so there is no white space between the threads. As you can see. This is what I'm talking about. You see the little spikes. So keep on wrapping the Mari. By the time we finish the Mari is ready, the diameter will be something about 9 centimeters. So if you multiply it by pi, it will be something like 30 centimeters in circumference. Add some more. So once you do the embroidery, there will be enough wool to keep your threads inside when you secure the ends. Okay. I have to check that there's no spaces, no white area. Add a few more wraps. To make sure that it's all nice and round. This is generally almost done, this part. Okay, can remove this thread and we start with an ordinary polyester thread. And using the same pattern, don't keep all the threads in the same line, distribute it evenly. It's nice and round. You have to keep it as round as possible, because once you do the divisions, there might be some mistakes that will ruin your embroidery. As you see, twist and turn, twist and turn. So you keep going like this until your sock yarn is fully covered, and you might add another 1 or 2 layers, complete layers around your Mari. Just to make sure that your surface is not covered with straight lines. So if you, okay, for the ground base I can show you, as if you end up with some surface like this, you cannot do embroidery, otherwise your work will be sliding off using these lines. So it's our goal is to get the surface covered as randomly as possible. So it will go for about half an hour, because this thread is fine. It will take a long time to cover the whole surface of the Mari. You can see I twist and I turn, twist and I turn. So as a result, we should get the surface something like this, with threads going in all directions. It will give us a good surface to do our stitches perfectly. You can see the surface is already covered, but still you can see the base thread. So we should get something like this, but still the sock yarn is still visible. The layer of the thin yarn should be about 1 or 2 millimeters thick. So when we do the stitches, when you do the stitch, it might slide off a little bit, so you don't see the sock yarn underneath. So on this stage, it's about 1/3 of the surface thread is done. You might just keep spinning for about another 5 to 10 minutes. Well, it takes less for a small mari, takes more time for the big mari, generally. And as you go, you might want to push the visible defects of the surface. Got some space here, just right under my thumb over here. So we need to cover that. And the inspectors are still more here. Okay, so the first part of the fine thread is done. We don't see any surface. None of the yarn sock is sticking out. So we might just keep on wrapping. But this time you have to be very careful so you don't get the straight lines. It all should be kind of messy. The messy the surface is, the easier for you to embroider on it. Okay. You can see this little point. Just pushing that in. And I spotted some sock yarn here. So I do cover it. The more thread you apply, the easier for you to work on the mari. So you can see this parallel line. I have to disguise it, cover it with more threads. So even if we stitch on it, the other threads will hold our stitches and won't allow them to slide off. Accidentally 3 or 4 threads again, so, covering them randomly. So this one looks perfect to me, well, almost perfect. Might add some stitches here. Just before you finish, inspect your mari. Make sure that there's no parallel lines on top, that they're all covered. As I said before, if there's no perfections, you can always push them inside. The styrofoam will allow you to do that. So I'm more or less satisfied with this mari. I cut about ½ meter of the thread. And I use the embroidery needle. What I do now is I do the stitch to the side, and this is normal with a long thread. You get a knot. Remove it from here and start over. That's those extra stitches are for, about tabs. So you stitch to the side. To the half wrap, stitch to the side, and again I'm kind of doing the zigzag over the mari, so that your thread end goes like this. Adds more chaos to your work. That's it. The thread is secured and you are ready to make the division for this mari. So see you next time with the mari divisions.